The Dauntless drifted through the endless void like a lone silver fish in an ocean of black. Outside the bridge's panoramic viewport, stars streaked faintly as the ship maintained a cautious drift through the outer edges of the Aelith expanse. It was a sector marked by old space treaties, disputed borders, and whispered legends of vanished civilizations. Captain Marin Holt stood steady on the bridge, her sharp eyes scanning the ship's main console. The crew was small but efficient, engineers and scientists more than soldiers, and they trusted her calm judgment. After all, this mission was exploration, not combat. "Sensors detecting slight gravitational anomaly," said Lieutenant Suresh, his voice steady but tinged with curiosity. "Nothing on record matches this signature." Holt nodded. "Keep us slow and steady. Let's not disturb anything we don't understand." The hum of the ship's engines was the only sound in the otherwise silent command center. Crew members worked quietly, tension low but curiosity high. The Dauntless was far from home, but they had always prepared for the unknown. Then, without warning, the calm shattered. A dozen points of light blazed into existence across the starfield, a fleet of ships appearing like predators closing in on a lone prey. "Captain, we're being locked in by multiple vessels," reported Suresh, eyes widening as the new contacts grew closer on the tactical display. "Unknown fleet, unknown origin, weapons hot." The bridge fell into silence. The air felt thicker, heavier, as if the vacuum outside had found a way to press against their chests. Holt's voice was steady, but inside her heart pounded like a drum. "Report. Identify." The communication officer flicked her console. "No response on any hailing frequencies, Captain. They're using encrypted channels. Military grade." A calm, mechanical voice suddenly broke through the static. It was foreign and cold, delivered in clipped tones but perfectly translated by the ship's universal translator. "This is Commander Seelor Thane of the Galactic Concord Fleet. You are in restricted space. Identify yourself and prepare to surrender immediately." Marin Holt's eyes narrowed. On screen, the main viewport switched from stars to the imposing silhouette of a Vari dreadnought, its sleek and angular hull glowing faintly with psychic energy. The Vari were the fleet's commanders, telepathic beings who led with a cold logic that often chilled even their allies. The Dauntless was surrounded. 10 ships formed a perfect circle, weapons charged, engines humming with lethal intent. The bridge crew held their breath. "Commander Thane," Holt said evenly, "this is Captain Marin Holt of the Terran exploration vessel, Dauntless. We are on a peaceful mission of discovery. We have no intention to violate conquered law." A murmur ran through the bridge. It was the right answer. Calm, respectful, but firm. Silence followed. Then the Vari commander's voice echoed again, softer this time, almost curious. "You are far from your home system, Captain Holt. Your presence here is a direct threat to galactic peace." Holt glanced at her crew. No one looked afraid. They had trained for confrontation, but none expected diplomacy to come so quickly. "We are far from home, yes, but our mission is one of understanding, not war. If you believe we are a threat, then tell us what it is you fear." Across the void, a psychic pulse rippled through the fleet, Seelor Thane's mind probing gently, tentatively into the captain's thoughts. Suddenly his expression twitched, an uncharacteristic falter. "You carry memories. Not your own. Memories from before the Concord's founding, memories that should have been lost." The crew exchanged puzzled looks. Holt's mind raced. The Vari's telepathic scan had penetrated further than any known mind probe, unearthing something buried deep in her subconscious. "What memories?" Holt asked cautiously. The Vari's reply was cold and precise. A war long before, recorded history. A species, unknown, yet familiar, who fought against the progenitors of this galaxy's civilizations. You have the echoes of that war within you. Marin's breath caught. She remembered dreams. Not dreams, really, but flashes of images and emotions buried deep since childhood. Symbols, starships engulfed in flame, and a voice whispering a warning she didn't understand. "Captain," Lieutenant Suresh said quietly, They're waiting. What do we do? Holt looked out at the dark horizon dotted with hostile ships. We hold our ground, and we show them humanity is not to be underestimated. The bridge crew steadied themselves as the Dauntless powered up its defenses, systems, humming in preparation for whatever would come next. And somewhere in the swirling depths of space a shadow stirred, a forgotten threat awakening, watching the humans with something close to dread. The Dauntless held firm in the eerie silence of the void, surrounded by the formidable armada of the Galactic Concord. Captain Marin Holt stood resolute on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the polished console, every muscle taut with awareness. "Open all hailing frequencies," Holt ordered, her voice calm but deliberate. "Let's show them we're not their enemies." The crew exchanged glances. It was a gamble. No one knew if the Concord would respond with reason or destroy the Dauntless on sight. But Holt understood something the fleet did not. Fear of the unknown often masked respect for courage. Moments later, the main viewport shimmered as the faces of the Concord's captains appeared in the holographic feed. Representatives of 10 species, their expressions ranging from curiosity to outright suspicion, filled the command center. Sealor Thane's presence dominated the feed, his violet-hued skin and deep-set eyes radiating cold intelligence. He spoke with measured cadence. "Captain Holt, your calm is unexpected. Most species would have surrendered or fled. Why do you not comply?" Holt met his gaze through the transmission, steady and unwavering. "Because we are not here to fight. We came seeking knowledge, not conquest." A murmur swept through the Concord captains. A Vari lieutenant leaned toward Sealor. "Yet their technology? It is primitive, almost rudimentary compared to ours. How could they pose any threat?" Sealor's gaze remained fixed on Holt. "Appearances deceive. We have scanned your vessel systems thoroughly. Your shields and weaponry are basic, yes, but your protocols are unusual, highly adaptive. Your crew's calm in the face of overwhelming odds is anomalous." Holt smiled faintly. "Humans are resilient. We've survived worse than fleets surrounding us." The conversation was interrupted by an unexpected psychic echo, a ripple from Sealor's mind that washed over the Dauntless's crew. The Vari were renowned for their telepathy, and now the fleet commander probed deeper, reaching for something buried beneath Holt's conscious mind. A shudder passed through Sealor's features. He staggered slightly as if struck by an invisible blow. "What is this? Your thoughts? They contain fragments of ancient memories, memories of a war, long before the Concord's founding." "Ancient memories?" Holt repeated, her brow furrowing. She reached out instinctively to the small pendant around her neck, a relic from Earth's forgotten past. It had always felt important. "Yes," Sealor replied slowly, regaining composure. "A war fought by a species that challenged the galaxy's creators themselves. The legends speak of the Eater of Pattern, a cosmic force that devours entire realities." The bridge crew absorbed the weight of Sealor's words. The Dauntless was no longer simply a trespasser. It was a vessel carrying echoes of a legacy lost to time. Lieutenant Suresh leaned forward. "Captain, are these memories part of your heritage?" Holt hesitated. "I don't know. They've haunted my dreams since childhood. I thought they were just dreams." "Dreams?" Sealor's tone shifted, his curiosity deepening. "They may be something far more profound." The fleet's stance softened slightly, but suspicion lingered. Another captain, a towering Ressi warrior, broke the silence. "If what you say is true, Captain Holt, then your presence here is a matter of galactic significance. Why reveal this now?" "Because something else is coming," Holt said quietly. "Something old, something dangerous. I felt it before we entered this sector, and now your fleet is here surrounding us when you should be preparing." A ripple of unease passed through the fleet. It was as if the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Suddenly the sensors blared, An unidentified vessel decloaked just beyond the fleet's perimeter. Its hull was dark, angular, and devoid of any known markings. The energy readings were unlike anything in the Conquered archives. "Unknown vessel detected," Suresh announced. "No IFF signal. No communication attempts." Sealor's eyes narrowed. "It carries the signature of the Harrower-class weapon, an extinct technology. How is this possible?" The dauntless crew exchanged anxious looks. Holt's mind raced to the fragmented images from her memories. Starships engulfed in shadow, weapons that could unravel space-time itself. "Prepare for hostile engagement," Sealor commanded. "Fleet, ready weapons." But Holt raised a hand. "Wait." The Concord fleet hesitated. This was new territory. The humans' strange knowledge had injected doubt and confusion. "Captain Holt," Sealor said cautiously, "what do you propose?" "We need to understand who this vessel answers to. It's not human, it's not Conquered. It may be the threat our ancestors warned us about." Sealor considered the risk but finally nodded. "Very well. Send a boarding party." "No," Holt said firmly. "I will go. Alone." The fleet was stunned. A human captain volunteering to board an unknown hostile ship by herself? Sealor's voice was sharp. "You underestimate the danger." "I understand more than you realize," Holt said. "If we don't act, we all die." A tense silence fell over the feed. Then Sealor finally agreed. "You leave in 20 minutes. We will provide an escort." As the Dauntless prepared for the unknown, the crew felt the weight of the galaxy on their shoulders. Around them, the Conquered fleet tightened its grip. Outside, the cold void whispered a warning. What lay ahead would change everything. Captain Marin Holt sat alone in the briefing room aboard the Dauntless, the pale glow of the holographic star map flickering against her determined face. Around her, the Galactic Conquered fleet still held position, an unyielding ring of metal and suspicion. Yet despite their hostility, she sensed the first threads of curiosity weaving through their ranks, threads pulled taut by the strange revelations about her mind. Her hands clenched the pendant at her throat, the ancient artifact from Earth, worn smooth by time. No one knew its true origin, not even Holt herself. But deep inside, it was the only anchor she had to the whispers of the past that haunted her. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. "Captain," Lieutenant Suresh's voice came from the comm. "Fleet Command requests your presence on the main conference channel." Holt nodded, straightening her jacket. "On my way." The main bridge filled with the holographic images of the Conquered captains, their features etched with skepticism and awe. At the center stood Sealor Thane, his violet eyes sharper than ever. "Captain Holt," he began, "your revelations have unsettled more than just my fleet. Our historians and telepaths are scrambling to interpret what you carry within you. If your memories are true, they challenge everything we believe about our history." Holt met his gaze steadily. "Then it's time to listen, not to dismiss." Sealor nodded. "Agreed. We convene a special council, but first you must understand the gravity of what you carry. Your memories speak of a species predating the Galactic Conquered, ancient humans, wielders of power lost to us all. They fought a war against a force known only as the Eater of Pattern, a cosmic predator that consumed entire star systems and realities. A Resi captain leaned forward, voice low and skeptical. "Legends? We have no proof. These could be psychic fabrications or worse, a ploy to destabilize the fleet." "Perhaps," Sealor replied, "but we cannot ignore the recent arrival of the unknown vessel, armed with technology from that very war. Its appearance coincides with Captain Holt's awakening memories. The coincidence is too great." The holograms shifted, displaying images of the alien ship, the dark, angular craft pulsating with unfamiliar energy. The fleet's analysts struggled to categorize it. "Captain Holt," Sealor continued, "we request you share what you know about this vessel. If you are truly connected to the ancient defenders, your insight may save us." Holt took a deep breath. "The vessel is a Harrower-class Sentinel, a remnant of a defense network built to stop the Eater of Pattern. But that war ended millennia ago. The Sentinels were deactivated, hidden across the galaxy to lie dormant. Until now. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the fleet. "We thought the threat extinguished," Holt said softly. "But this ship, and possibly others like it, have been reactivated. We don't know why or how, but they attack anything that moves, even their former allies." Sailor's expression darkened. "Then this is not just a territorial dispute. It is the beginning of a conflict none of us are prepared for." "Exactly." Holt's eyes burned with urgency. "That's why I volunteered to board the ship. If I can communicate with its AI, maybe I can stop it from destroying us all." A silence settled over the fleet. Some captains exchanged wary looks, others seemed inspired. The humans' courage, and their connection to forgotten history, was undeniable. Suddenly, a low vibration pulsed through the Dauntless. The ship's sensors flared to life. "Captain!" Suresh shouted. "Another vessel approaching, faster than any Concord ship, cloaking disabled." On the viewport, a new shape emerged from the stars. A sleek black arrow slicing through space with lethal intent. "It's heading straight for us," Suresh said, voice tense. "Fleet. Battle. Stations," Sealor commanded. "Prepare for engagement." Holt gritted her teeth. "No, not yet. Let me try something." "Captain?" Sealor's suspicion was palpable. "Trust me." Holt activated a rarely used communication frequency, an ancient human code embedded in her pendant. The black ship faltered, slowing as an eerie silence filled the void. Then, to the astonishment of everyone watching, it shifted course. Retreating, back into the darkness, Sealor's eyes widened. "Incredible. Your code. It resonates with the vessel's AI." Holt nodded. The ancient human archives weren't just stories. They're a key, a language of command. We might be able to control or at least negotiate with the Sentinels. The fleet buzzed with newfound hope, but Holt knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was awakening to a threat buried deep in history, and humanity stood at its center. She glanced once more at the pendant and whispered, "We've been asleep for too long." As the Concord fleet adjusted their formations, a silent question hung in the void. Could the humans really be the galaxy's last hope, or the spark that ignites its destruction? The sudden calm that had briefly settled over the Dauntless and the Galactic Concord fleet shattered like glass under pressure. The void, once filled only with distant stars and cold silence, now echoed with alarms and the thunderous roar of weapons charging. "Contact! Hostile ship decloaking!" Lieutenant Suresh's voice cut sharply through the tension. On the main viewport, a new vessel materialized, dark and jagged, its hull shimmering with an eerie energy signature. "This is no ordinary enemy," Suresh warned. "Its weapon systems are unlike anything we've ever cataloged. The energy pulses are tearing the fabric of space-time itself." "Raise shields to maximum," Captain Holt commanded, her voice steady despite the growing chaos. "Alert the fleet, prepare for immediate combat." The conquered ship surged forward, their weapons locking onto the intruder, but it moved with unnatural speed and precision, slipping past their fire like a ghost through walls. From the bridge, Holt could see the effects firsthand. Energy discharges cracked the void, rifts opening and closing in eerie flashes. The Dauntless shook as a shockwave rippled across its hull. "Brace for impact," she called out. A deep, resonating pulse blasted the front shields, sending sparks flying and alarms blaring. The ship rocked violently, throwing crew members from their seats. "We're holding, but just barely," Suresh reported, eyes wide as he monitored the damage. "The enemy's weapon is destabilizing our shields." Sailor Thane's voice crackled over the comm, tense and urgent. "All ships focus fire on the target's core. If we don't disable it now, this could be the end of the Conquered fleet." The battle intensified. Laser beams, plasma bolts, and missile volleys tore through space, but the mysterious vessel absorbed or dodged them with unnerving ease. It was as if the ship were alive, aware and adaptive. "Captain, I'm detecting life signs aboard that vessel," Suresh said, "but the readings are erratic, almost artificial." Holt's mind raced. Could it be a Sentinel AI like the ones her memories had warned of? Something ancient and programmed for war, now unleashed? Prepare a boarding party, Holt ordered. I'll lead it myself. Her crew's faces tightened in concern. Boarding such a ship alone was nearly suicidal. But she knew this was their only chance to uncover the truth. Minutes later, Holt strapped herself into a sleek stealth corvette, the Shadowhawk, its hull designed for silent approach and rapid infiltration. As she launched, the Dauntless's crew watched with bated breath. Inside the Shadowhawk, the hum of the engine was the only comfort against the oppressive black outside. Sensors scanned the target ship relentlessly, looking for weaknesses, entrances. There, Holt whispered, spotting an unshielded maintenance hatch near the rear. The Corvette slipped through the hatch's opening like a shadow dissolving into darkness. Inside, Holt found herself in a labyrinth of corridors bathed in cold blue light. Strange symbols adorned the walls, glyphs older than any star charts pulsating faintly with energy. AI core should be just ahead, she muttered, gripping the pendant at her neck. It pulsed gently, as if reacting to the surroundings. Suddenly, a voice echoed in her mind, calm, mechanical, yet unmistakably alive. Identify yourself. Holt froze, heart pounding. I am Marin Holt, captain of the Terran vessel Dauntless. I come in peace. A flicker of recognition passed through the AI. You carry the key of Sol. Holt's breath caught. The key of Sol, her pendant, was more than a trinket. It was a command relic from an ancient defense network. The AI's tone shifted, less hostile, more curious. You awaken the Guardian. Guardian? The Sentinel fleet was placed in stasis after the last war. Your ancestors encoded the key to reactivate us if the threat returned. We are the galaxy's shield. Holt's mind reeled. The legends were true. The Sentinels were real. And now she stood at the threshold of an awakening. Will you help us? She asked quietly. Unknown, the AI replied. Protocols require analysis of your intent and capabilities. Holt nodded. Then let me prove we are not your enemy. Back on the Dauntless, the fleet engaged in desperate combat. The mysterious vessel pulsed with new energy, seemingly feeding on the battle. Suddenly, it shifted tactics. Instead of attacking, it fired a blinding pulse toward the conquered ships, a signal, not a weapon. The fleet's weapons ceased fire, confusion rippling across the ranks. Captain Holt? Sealor's voice came through urgently. What's happening? Holt's calm crackled as she relayed her connection with the AI. The Guardian wants to negotiate. It recognizes us, or at least me. Sealor's face appeared on the viewport, a mixture of awe and skepticism. This changes everything. The AI's voice filled the Dauntless bridge, resonating through the ship's systems. I am Sentinel Prime. The war you remember is our war. The threat returns. We must unite or perish. As the fleet absorbed the message, Holt realized the galaxy's greatest trial had only just begun. Outside, stars watched silently, waiting for the next move. The Dauntless hung in the void, the weight of the revelation pressing down on every crew member. Captain Marin Holt stood at the heart of the bridge, her eyes locked on the shifting image of Sentinel Prime, the AI of the ancient Harrower-class ship. Sentinel Prime, Holt addressed the AI carefully. If your war is returning, what is our next move? How do we prepare? The AI's voice was calm, measured, but carried a chilling undercurrent of urgency. The Eater of Pattern returns from beyond the veil, an entity of chaos that consumes order and existence itself. The Concord fleet alone cannot stop it. You, humanity, hold a genetic key, latent memories and adaptations forged in that ancient war. We must awaken that power. Marin swallowed hard. Awaken? You mean we have to remember what was lost? Yes. The memories embedded in your mind are dormant defenses and strategies encoded by your ancestors. Your vessel's technology is basic because your species has been dormant, waiting for this moment. Lieutenant Suresh glanced at her with wide eyes. You mean we're like sleeper agents? Not agents, Holt corrected, her voice steady. Guardians. Sealor. Thane appeared on the viewport, face grim but resolute. then our survival depends on a unity we never imagined. Terrans conquered and the Sentinels together. The fleet began repositioning, forming tighter defensive lines around the Dauntless and the Sentinel vessel. A palpable tension filled the void, but hope flared stronger than fear. Holt turned to her engineering officer, Captain Rail, who had been silent until now. Rail, can the Dauntless's systems interface with Sentinel Prime? We need to understand its full capabilities. Rail nodded briskly. I'll assemble a tech team immediately. The corridor where the Shadowhawk had slipped inside was quiet. Too quiet. Holt and her team moved carefully through the Sentinel ship's hull, surrounded by hums of ancient machinery that seemed almost alive. Inside the AI core chamber, energy flowed through crystalline conduits glowing with a deep, blue light. Sentinel Prime's presence pulsed in the air. A consciousness-bridging machine and something beyond. Holt placed the key of Sol pendant on a console, and a cascade of images flooded her mind. Visions of star systems burning, ancient battles, raging, and a cosmic force unraveling reality itself. We fought to contain the Eater, to hold the pattern of existence intact. The AI's voice echoed in her thoughts. But we failed. You were hidden to survive and return. Suddenly Holt's vision sharpened, memories flooding her senses. Tactical maneuvers, forgotten languages, starship designs, and even genetic blueprints of warriors long dead. She gasped, staggering. It's overwhelming. You are the heir to this legacy, Captain, Sentinel Prime intoned. But you will not be alone. The Concord fleet must awaken as well. Their histories may hold fragments of lost knowledge. Back on the Dauntless, the fleet was on edge. The shadow of the unknown enemy loomed closer every moment. Communications from conquered ships buzzed with anxious reports. Strange space-time distortions, systems malfunctions, and eerie silence from distant patrols. Sealor's voice rang clear over the comm. We must prepare for full engagement. I convene a war council aboard the Dauntless. All captains assemble. As the alien captains gathered, Holt found herself at the center of a historic alliance. The fleet commanders, once wary and suspicious of humanity, now looked to her for guidance. What can we do to awaken our own forgotten strength? Asked a Jannar warrior, his deep voice rumbling through the chamber. Holt studied the pendant resting against her chest. We start by learning. We share memories, knowledge, and technology. The Eater doesn't just consume ships, it consumes hope and order. We fight by remembering who we are. Sealor nodded. Agreed. We will open our archives to your team. The more we learn, the stronger we become. That night, Holt stood alone on the Dauntless's observation deck, gazing at the swirling cosmos. The stars seemed colder now, but also alive, watching, waiting. She whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning." Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime. "Captain, the tech team has completed the integration," Rail reported. "Sentinel Prime systems are interfaced with ours. We're ready to access the archives." Holt felt a surge of determination. The key to survival lay in unity and awakening the lost legacy. Then let's wake the galaxy. The Dauntless hummed with renewed power, and beyond its hull the Concord fleet brightened, ready for war, ready to reclaim the past, and ready to fight for the future. The Dauntless thrummed with energy as the integration between human technology and Sentinel Prime's ancient systems reached completion. Captain Marin Holt stood in the command center, flanked by the Concord's top officers, all focused on the holographic displays flickering with new data streams and star charts. "Accessing the ancient archives now," Chief Engineer Rail announced, his fingers dancing over the console. "This is unlike anything in the current galactic databases. The technology, it bends physics." Holt nodded, feeling the weight of their task settle over her. "The key isn't just to understand the technology," she said, voice steady. "It's to awaken what's inside us, the memories, the instincts, the strength." Lieutenant Suresh leaned forward, scanning a series of holographic images projected in front of him. Captain, these star maps show corridors of space-time, rifts, and patterns the Eater uses to move and consume. If we can predict its paths, we might slow its advance. Aresi captain rubbed his chin thoughtfully. But these patterns are unstable and shifting. Tracking the Eater will be like chasing a ghost. Suddenly, a ripple passed through the bridge. An unexpected surge from Sentinel Prime's core systems. The AI is expanding its interface, Rail reported. It's accessing the genetic archives embedded within your crew's DNA. Holt felt a strange pulse in her chest, the pendant glowing faintly against her skin. Memories she didn't fully understand began to flicker in her mind. Ancient battles, the roar of starship engines, the hum of weapons unlike any known. I feel it too, she admitted quietly, like something waking inside me. Sealor's expression hardened. Captain Holt, your people's heritage could be the galaxy's salvation, but it is also a risk. The Eater feeds on chaos and weakness. If we falter, it will consume us all. Then we don't falter, Holt said, locking eyes with Sealor. We fight together. We remember who we are. Across the fleet, a signal pulsed. A beacon sent through the void, carrying fragments of ancient data encoded in the human genetic memory. Conquered ships responded, their crews feeling a sudden surge of clarity. Flashes of forgotten knowledge rekindled. Shields are strengthening, Rail confirmed. Weapon systems recalibrated with ancient protocols. We're adapting in real time. Holt's thoughts drifted to the unknown enemy. The Sentinels reawakened, the Harrower-class ships, and the dark force they all faced. Suddenly, an alert flashed. Incoming transmission, Suresh said. It's from the alien vessel that retreated earlier. The holofeed flickered to life, showing a dark silhouette of a humanoid figure, its features obscured by a swirling energy field. The figure's voice was cold, yet resonant. I am Varks, envoy of the Eater of Pattern. Your awakening is inevitable, but your unity will be your downfall. Holt stepped forward. We're not afraid of your threats. We've survived worse and will stand together against you. Varks laughed, a sound like metal grinding against stone. Your memories are chains, Captain. They bind you to a past that will consume you. Submit and be spared. The transmission ended abruptly. Sealer turned to Holt, eyes burning with resolve. We will not submit. We will prepare for war. Holt's fingers tightened around the pendant. Then it's time we awaken the warriors within. That night, the Dauntless's crew gathered in the ship's meditation chamber, joined by representatives of the Concord fleet. Sentinel Prime's presence filled the room with a soft blue light, its consciousness weaving through them. Holt closed her eyes, reaching deep into her mind. The ancient memories surged forward. Visions of battles fought across stars, of sacrifices, and victories of a legacy written in blood and light. One by one, others followed, feeling the power of the past ignite within their souls. Hours passed, and when they opened their eyes, a new strength shimmered in the air. We are no longer just a fleet, Holt declared. We are a force reborn, a shield against the darkness. Outside, the stars watched silently as the Dauntless and the Concord fleet prepared to face the oncoming storm, because in the void beyond, the Eater of Pattern stirred once more. The conquered fleet surged forward, a gleaming phalanx of hope cutting through the dark expanse of space. Captain Marin Holt stood at the Dauntless's helm, eyes fixed on the swirling vortex ahead, a rift in space-time that pulsed with malevolent energy. This is it, Holt said softly. The veil. Beyond it lies the heart of the Eater's domain. Sealor Thane, standing beside her, nodded grimly. Our scouts report massive energy signatures beyond the veil. Entire star systems have been consumed, reduced to ghostly echoes. Holt's hand tightened around the pendant. We've trained for this. The memories, the technology, the unity. We're ready. The fleet approached the rift cautiously, shields bristling against the chaotic energies threatening to tear them apart. The Dauntless shuddered as they passed through the threshold, a turbulent cascade of light and darkness swirling around them. Inside, the laws of physics warped. Time twisted and stretched. Stars flickered in and out of existence. The crew fought nausea and disorientation, but their resolve held firm. Suddenly, the fleet's sensors flared. An immense shape loomed ahead, a colossal mass of writhing tendrils and glowing orbs, the very embodiment of chaos. The Eater of Pattern. The beast pulsed with devouring hunger, its tendrils reaching out like fingers to consume the fleet's light. "Battle stations," Holt commanded. "Focus all firepower on the tendrils, don't let them touch the ships." The Concord ships unleashed a barrage of weapons. Plasma beams, pulse cannons, energy lances. Each strike met with resistance as the Eater absorbed and reconfigured the attacks. "We're cutting into its defenses," shouted Rail from engineering. "But it's adapting faster than we can keep up." Holt's comm crackled. "Sentinel Prime, any advice?" The AI's voice resonated through the ship. "Engage the neural link. Captain Holt, you must connect. With me directly. Together we can disrupt the Eater's pattern." Holt nodded and moved to the neural interface chamber. Strapping herself in, the pendant flared with energy as the AI's consciousness merged with hers. Visions flooded her mind. Chaotic spirals of energy, ancient battlefields, and the faces of ancestors who had fought the same war. "Focus," Sentinel Prime urged. "We are the shield. We are the sword." Back on the bridge, the fleet fought desperately as Holt's connection deepened. Her eyes glowed faintly as she reached into the heart of the Eater's pattern, unraveling its defenses from within. The creature roared, a sound that shattered spacetime as its tendrils writhed in pain. "Now," Holt commanded. "All ships concentrate fire on the core." The fleet obeyed, unleashing a coordinated strike that pierced the Eater's heart. Light exploded across the void, and the creature convulsed, its mass dissolving into streams of shimmering energy. As the Eater of Pattern disintegrated, the rift began to close, the chaotic energies calming. The Concord fleet let out a collective breath, the first victory in a war that had spanned millennia. Sealor approached Holt, his expression a mixture of awe and respect. "Captain, you have not only saved us but awakened a legacy that will protect the galaxy for generations." Holt smiled tiredly. "We fought as one. That is our strength." The pendant's glow faded as Holt disconnected from the neural link, the ancient memories settling into a steady flame within her. Yet in the quiet after the battle, a new message flickered across the Dauntless's comm. An unknown signal. A warning. "We have delayed the inevitable." Sentinel Prime's voice echoed. "Other forces stir beyond the veil." The Eater was but a herald. Holt's eyes narrowed. Then the real fight has only just begun. The battle against the Eater of Pattern was over, but the war was far from won. Captain Marin Holt stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, the vast starfield stretching beyond the viewport now calm but shadowed by uncertainty. Sealer Thane approached, his armored footsteps steady. "The fleet is regrouping. The Sentinels are stabilizing their systems. We have time to plan." Holt nodded, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon where the veil had once writhed in chaos. "Time is a luxury we don't have. Sentinel Prime warned us. There are others, forces older and darker." Rail joined them, the ship's chief engineer. "Our integration with Sentinel tech is progressing. We can rebuild, strengthen, and even innovate. But it will take years to reach full capacity." Holt allowed herself a brief sigh. Years we may not have. Suddenly the ship's comm buzzed. A message came through, not from the fleet, but from a hidden relay deep within a nearby nebula. The signal was weak, encrypted, and ancient. Suresh worked quickly to decrypt it. "Captain, it's a distress call or maybe a summons. It originates from the very heart of the veil." Holt's pulse quickened. "Play it." A voice fragmented by static filled the room. "To any who hear, we are the last wardens. We fought the darkness before, and we hold secrets. Secrets that can end this." The transmission cut off abruptly. Sealer's eyes narrowed. "Then that is where we must go. If the last wardens still exist, they are our best hope. Holt's heart beat fiercely. Prepare the fleet. We set course immediately. Days later, the Dauntless led the fleet through twisting cosmic storms and fields of radiant gas. The journey was perilous, but each step forward rekindled hope. When they arrived, the sight was breathtaking. A massive ancient space station orbiting a dying star, its architecture unlike anything in current records. It pulsed with dormant power, waiting. As they docked, Holt felt the key of Sol pulse warmly at her side. The station's AI welcomed them with a voice both mechanical and human, echoing across the halls. You are expected, Captain Holt. The wardens have been waiting for the one who carries the key. The wardens were a coalition of ancient warriors and scientists, guardians of forbidden knowledge. They revealed histories lost to time, the origins of the Eater, the creation of the Sentinels, and the ancient alliances forged to protect the galaxy. Most importantly, they shared a final secret, a weapon hidden deep within the station, capable of sealing the veil forever. But the weapon came with a cost. It requires a bond. The Warden leader explained. A living connection between the key bearer and Sentinel Prime, amplified by the unity of the fleet. It will drain you, Captain Holt. Holt met their gaze without hesitation. If it saves the galaxy, I will do what is necessary. Preparations began immediately. The fleet gathered in formation around the station, their systems linked in an unprecedented network. Holt entered the chamber where the weapon lay dormant, the key of Sol shining brightly. Sentinel Prime's presence surged through her, the memories and power fusing into a blazing force of will. The weapon activated, sending ripples of energy through the veil. The fabric of space began to knit back together, the chaotic rifts sealing shut like wounds healing. But the strain was immense. Holt's body trembled, visions overwhelming her senses. The past, present, and future collided within her mind. Hold on, Captain. Sealer's voice was a lifeline through the storm. With a final, desperate effort, Holt poured every ounce of strength into the bond. Light exploded, flooding the station, the fleet, and beyond. When the radiance faded, the veil was gone, replaced by a calm, star-studded void. The Eater's menace was sealed, but Holt was exhausted, barely conscious. She awoke days later, the fleet celebrating a hard-fought victory. Sealer knelt beside her, smiling. You did it, Captain. The galaxy is safe. Holt returned the smile, the pendant glowing softly against her chest. We did it. Together. As the fleet prepared to journey home, Holt looked out at the stars with new understanding. The legacy of humanity and the Sentinels had been reborn, not just as warriors, but as guardians of hope and unity. And in the vast cosmos, a new chapter had begun.